Hey, greetings. Today I'm going to talk about the part 3 video, post-unboxing. We had the pre-unboxing, we had the unboxing, and now the post-unboxing, the follow-up thoughts about Apple's new 12-inch Retina MacBook. Not a MacBook Pro, not a MacBook Air, going back to the days of MacBook, last seen from Apple back in 2010 with the white one you might be familiar with. This was the redesign, 2009, 2010. It was a MacBook unibody with the rounded corners. So now the new MacBook is a 12-inch and it actually dwarfs the 11-inch MacBook Air. The screen of a 11-inch MacBook Air, I believe, is 11.6 anyway. So now we're down to a 12-inch Retina display as opposed to the 13.3-inch old school MacBook, discontinued in 2010. And I've been personally trying to figure out which one I want to go with. I already was a fairly pleased owner of an 11-inch MacBook Air with every possible upgrade option, which means it has the 8 gigabytes of RAM, it has a 512 gig solid state drive, and it has an i7 processor, albeit this one's a 1.7. The current model, you can get a 2.2 gigahertz i7 processor. Well, the new MacBook Retina 12-inch, it comes only in dual i5 processor, 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3. And some of you may be saying, how come computer speeds are going down instead of up? It comes down to more efficient processors, which require less clock speed to do the same kind of computational tasks, generate less heat, and take less electricity, less battery power, better battery life. And the battery technology has come to the point where they're so thin inside and stacked that you could actually have a laptop that claims 10 hours of runtime, something this thin. Obviously, the predecessor to all of this was the iPad, and many people have been starting to call the 12-inch Retina MacBook just like an iPad with a keyboard. And that's a fairly accurate description to some extent. However, it does have a little bit more oomph to it, but they did go with the iPad mentality of minimalism to an extent that there is just an audio jack and just a charging jack. Now that charging jack also doubles as a USB. It's a USB 3.1 reversible technology, Type C. What does that mean? It means that you have to buy an adapter to do any USB with it, traditional USB-A, and that's a $20 adapter from the Apple Store. If you want to drive an external screen, you know, you can get an adapter from Apple. That's $79, and it's back ordered everywhere. You can't even get one yet. So my personal decision, having to run USB peripherals, the MacBook Air is kind of cool, having USB 3.0 on this side and another one on this side, and then having its own power jack on that side with the 45-watt AC adapter, MagSafe 2, that is a similar kind shared with the MacBook Pro models and other MacBook Airs. So if you're a person that travels with 2 laptops, or you're traveling with a friend and they got a laptop, you could share the AC adapter between. So that's a convenience factor. This has a convenience factor in that you can plug it into other things other than its own power brick, and you could actually charge off of an external battery really easily. The one drawback is they got rid of the little ears that flip out, so you could, you know, wind it around here so you can carry it with the cable nice intact. What would it have taken to put a couple little ears on this thing so we don't have to carry it around like this silly mess? So there are some pros and some cons, and for me, unfortunately, I'm getting hit mainly with the drawbacks because I do want to plug in USB peripherals, and by the time you plug in this little thing sticking out the side very inconveniently, let's just plug it in here. Sorry, I'm doing all this off of a selfie stick, one-handed. All right, then we plug in the USB hub. All right, now we've got this little train wreck just to end up getting 3 USB ports. But bear in mind, when you do that, you've got no way of charging the computer. So you get your so-called 10 hours of battery life. Well, let's see, I'm down to 39%, and it's saying that I have 2 hours and 53 minutes. So you do the math. I haven't done anything with this. I haven't watched any YouTube, or I just had it sitting here on a dim screen, and I don't think it gets 10 hours very easily. Just like this one, I don't think it gets 7 or 8 hours very easily, but I do get 5. So the screens, obviously, the Retina is a plus. And you can change the screen resolutions and everything's going to look sharp. So you could simulate the workspace of a conventional 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro, 1440 by 900. The text is going to be a little smaller, but everything's sharp. You've got a lot of workspace, more horizontal landscape space, more up and down, 1440 by 900, as compared to 1280 by 800, the default, which was the previous default of 13-inch MacBooks and MacBook Pros. The MacBook Air is its own thing, and it has its resolution. If you change its resolution, which is, let's see, scaled 1368 by 768, if you blow it up and change it to 1280 by 720, everything gets a little fuzzier. And why? It's not its native resolution. And when you're going off of the native resolution, it looks fine. This one here, twice as many pixels, you can go native or outside native resolution and it's still going to look sharp. The human eye doesn't pick up on the differences there. The Retina display is a definite plus. It's kind of a bummer that everything has to come off of that one port, so you have this stupid monstrosity of cables that come around. Maybe some third-party company will come out with something cool that comes out, makes a right angle, comes around the back, and then Velcros onto the back top here and gives you a few ports coming out in this direction. Obviously, that's something, if I was a developer, I'd put out something like that, because I think that would be in demand, because I think people would want to support this new MacBook and its amazing lightness, its decent processing power. They say it's kind of on par with an old MacBook Air 2011 model i7. And that's fine, you can live with that. It's got a really fast solid state drive inside and 8 gigs of RAM. You can get decent stuff done. So it's not gonna be incredibly slow, but you're not gonna wanna edit real feature movies on it or anything, but you could DJ off of it. And the screen is so sharp that you could blow it up big in the club and you can see things, you see your track listing and everything, and you could really DJ off of this. It's just a bummer that you'd have to get that weird adapter to keep the thing plugged in and get USB, so you have a few different ports so you can plug in a DJ mixer, an audio interface, anything else, charge your iPhone. So that's not going to happen so easily with this one. So you have to make the decision. And me, hitting the road right now, you know, I'm glad I'm not faced with the decision of having to heft around the old 13-inch MacBook 2010 or a MacBook Pro 15. I'll bring that anyway. But for my sidekick machine, I have to say the 2013 model 11-inch MacBook Air, and you know, there's a 13 as well, and the 13 claims to have 12 hours of battery life, so some of you might want to consider just getting a 13-inch MacBook Air. For the price difference, going to the store brand new, if you bump this one up with 8 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD, it comes out to be $14.99. This one here with 8 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD and the 1.2 processor, that one's $15.99, so only a $100 difference. You get the Retina display, you lose the ports, and you have a slightly slower processor. And this one here, you've got more connectivity, more ports, more practicality for a lot of people, $100 less, or do like I do, buy something slightly used with a lot of AppleCare remaining on it and save yourself a heck of a lot of money. This one here with AppleCare extended warranty and set up the way that it is, market value probably around $1,300, $1,350. And this one here, $15.99 plus tax, and it's back ordered for 4 to 6 weeks. So what's the verdict on this post unboxing video? I'm gonna ReBox it and I'm gonna sell it on Craigslist. And I'm gonna take my 11-inch MacBook Air, I'm gonna count my blessings, and I'm gonna get some work done now. When I get back from my road trip, I'll look in and see if any third parties have come out with some cool little USB 3.1 reversible USB adapters that make the connection a little less ridiculous than this, and also be able to power test and see, can you really drive that much USB stuff off of that, or do things start to shut down? External hard drives that are spinning up, and you plug in an audio interface, the two of them, it might overpower the whole thing. You might burn out the whole thing. I don't know. It's just that small of a connector. Can you trust that? Unfortunately, I only have a little bit of time before I hit the road, so I'm not going to be that guinea pig. If somebody wants to buy it from me off of Craigslist, and they're the Willy Wonka winning you win the golden ticket, otherwise back ordered 4 to 6 weeks, people are scalping the prices of these. The prices, people are asking $2,000 for this thing that's $1,599 plus tax. Are they getting that? I'm not sure. So we'll see. This is the ReBoxing video, part 3. MacBook 12-inch Retina as compared to the 11-inch Air, as compared to the old school 2010 of the same name MacBook. Time keeps on tripping into the future, and technology, this is the Technomadic twist of the review of the MacBook 12-inch, brought to you by me, EKG Electro Greg, representing Solar Sonic. Thanks for watching.